Did somebody let a janitor's kid into my powertrain bay?
Blake Whitmore does not lower his voice. He wants the room to hear it.
Lady, hey, you with the cart, get your son out now. This car is worth more than your whole apartment building.
Deborah lowers her eyes.
I'm sorry, sir. He was just looking for the water fountain.
I don't care what he was looking for. He doesn't belong in here. You mop the floors. You don't stand next to a $6 million Ferrari.
He grabs a greasy rag off the engine cover, throws it. The rag hits Tyler's chest, drops to the floor.
Pick it up. That's what your mother's paid for.
Two engineers laugh. Deborah's knuckles go white. Tyler does not move. 41 minutes later, Blake would be walked out of this building, and the boy he just humiliated would be the one closing the hood on his running Ferrari. Have you ever been looked at like you did not belong? Palo Alto, California, a Wednesday morning in late spring. Sterling Dynamics campus, Building 4, glass towers, biometric doors, a Tesla Roadster suspended from steel cables in the lobby like a trophy nobody has earned the right to drive. The crown jewel of this place is the powertrain lab. Sealed air, surgical lighting, a room where men with Ivy League engineering degrees come to prove they can outthink an internal combustion engine. Harrison Caldwell built all of this from the ground up. Ex-aerospace, quiet money, 49 years old, worth more than the annual budget of a small country. His obsession has a name: Oracle Drive, an artificial intelligence diagnostic platform. The pitch is simple and enormous, an AI that outperforms every human mechanic alive. The product demo runs on a single car. The proof of concept sits at the center of the bay under 4,000 watts of halogen. Caldwell's personal Ferrari, a 2016 LaFerrari Aperta, only 210 ever built, $6.3 million. Rosso Corsa paint so deep it looks wet. Carbon fiber bodywork that still smells faintly of resin after a decade. It has not run correctly in 21 days. Every diagnostic ends the same way. The same cryptic fault code. The same dead silence. Ferrari Maranello flew their factory technicians in last week. They left empty-handed. 2 independent Ferrari-certified specialists followed them. Same result. Oracle Drive itself has logged 14 gigabytes of telemetry and has not found the answer. Today is Wednesday. Friday morning, investors arrive from Europe. $18 million in partnership money hanging on one demonstration. Deborah Armstrong knows none of this. She arrives at 5:30 every morning the way she has for 11 years. She knows every engineer by first name. She has never once been invited to a meeting. She has never once been asked her opinion on anything other than which brand of floor wax is on sale. This Wednesday is different. Her son's middle school is closed for a district teacher in-service day. Mrs. Henley across the hall has the flu and cannot watch him. Deborah cannot afford to miss a shift, so she brought her boy with her. She cleared it with her supervisor. She took the man's tired sigh and his muttered conditions without flinching. The rules were simple. Break room only. Do not talk to anyone. Do not touch anything. Eat the sandwich she packed him and read the book she pulled from the library on the way in. Tyler sits on an orange plastic chair in the break room. A library copy of Automotive Electronics Failure Analysis open on his lap. Under the chair, a 1974 red Snap-on toolbox, 34 pounds of chromed steel and memory. The only thing he has left of his father. He carries it on in-service days because the fire escape window in their apartment does not lock. At 9:15, he closes the book and goes looking for the water fountain. He follows his mother's cart down the hallway. A door is open. He sees the Ferrari through the gap. He forgets how to breathe. Inside the lab, Blake Whitmore, Vincent Brooks, and 4 junior engineers are running their 3rd failed diagnostic of the morning. The car just threw another isolation fault and shut itself down at idle. Blake is out of ideas. He is also out of time. He needs a target. The housekeeping cart rolls past the open door. Deborah apologizes and tries to keep moving. Blake stops her, accuses her of contaminating the clean environment with her equipment. She is 15 feet from the car and moving away from it. That is where we came in. Tyler's words hang in the air. Inverter ground strap. A 13-year-old just used those 3 words inside a Ferrari powertrain bay, and the whole room heard him. Blake recovers fast. He always does. Vincent, get him out, right now! Vincent Brooks takes 2 steps toward the door, hesitates. He looks at Tyler's face. Something about it makes him hesitate 1 beat longer than he should. In that 1 beat, the door opens again. Colleen Davis walks in. Dark suit, tablet in hand, an earpiece blinks red. Caldwell is already on the speaker and his voice fills the bay like weather. Blake, status. We're close, sir. You've been close for 3 weeks. Harriet Malone asked me this morning whether the Oracle Drive narrative still holds. The answer better be yes by Friday morning, or we cancel the demo and I do damage control for a month. Absolutely, sir. We are narrowing it down. The tablet chimes. A new email pings at the top of the screen. Ferrari Maranello's post-mortem from the factory visit. Colleen tilts the tablet. Blake sees it before she does. Subject line in capital letters. No fault found. Blake's jaw tightens so hard a muscle jumps in his cheek. Aaron Wilson is the youngest engineer in the room, 24 years old, still on probation. He looks at Tyler, then at the Ferrari, then at the floor. He speaks just loud enough to be heard, just quiet enough to deny later. He's not wrong about the strap. Vincent Brooks snaps his head around, glares. Aaron drops his eyes instantly. Blake did not hear the words, but he felt the shift in the room. He raises his voice. Security, I want the child and the housekeeper out of this building in the next 90 seconds. And I want incident reports on both of them before lunch. A uniformed guard steps forward from the hallway, takes Tyler's elbow. The grip is not rough. It does not need to be. Deborah starts to move. Mother first, employee second. That is when the door opens a 3rd time. Harrison Caldwell walks in. He had been on his way down the hallway for a different meeting. He heard the last sentence from outside. He kept walking until he was inside the bay. The room freezes. The temperature does not change, but it feels like it does. Caldwell does not look at Blake first. He looks at the boy, then at the security guard's hand on the boy's arm, then at the mother whose knuckles have gone white on the cart. Let him go. The guard releases Tyler immediately, takes 1 step back. Who said inverter ground strap? Blake opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. Aaron Wilson, smaller voice this time, points at Tyler. Caldwell crosses to the boy. 6 feet tall, graying at the temples. A man used to being the quietest predator in any boardroom he walks into. He does not smile. He rarely does. Son, what's your name? Tyler Armstrong, sir? You said inverter ground strap. Why? Tyler's eyes flick to the car, then back to Caldwell's face. His voice is steady. The voice does not sound like a child's voice. It sounds like somebody older, borrowing a child's mouth. Because the fault pattern you're chasing behaves like an intermittent ground fault, not a battery fault. Your code is a symptom. Whoever bolted that strap back on used the wrong fastener, probably stainless steel into aluminum. That would explain everything the AI can't. Silence. Blake makes a sound that wants to be a laugh, but is not one. Sir, with respect, he is the housekeeper's kid. He is 13 years old. He has no clearance, no credentials, no competence. He read one of those Wikipedia articles and he's parroting words. Caldwell does not turn around. He speaks to Tyler. Can you prove what you just said? Deborah steps forward, protective, the voice only mothers have. Sir, with respect, my boy is a minor. He does not go near anything high voltage without me watching. and without someone qualified supervising him. That is not negotiable. Caldwell nods, slow, deliberate. Agreed, Mrs. Armstrong. Mr. Hollister is already on site. Your son does not lift a finger until you sign off. My assistant will draft the consent form in the next 5 minutes. He turns to Blake. His voice drops half a register. Prove him wrong, Blake. Or prove him right. I do not care which. I want this car running by Friday morning. Your pride is not the asset I'm protecting here. Blake's smile does not move. His eyes do. Somewhere behind them, a calculation begins. How to make a 13-year-old fail in front of a room. How to make the failure permanent. The calculation is already wrong, and he does not know it yet. If you have ever watched real talent get dismissed because of how it walked into the room, stay with us. Like this video, subscribe, hit the bell. The next 15 minutes are the kind of justice you did not know you needed. The kind that leaves fingerprints. A 13-year-old boy, a $6.3 million Ferrari, 21 days of failure stacked in one room like cordwood. The man who built all of this just handed the kid the keys. The chief engineer who threw a rag at him 12 minutes ago is about to find out what it costs to underestimate a housekeeper's son. And the mother who has swept these floors for 11 years without being seen once is about to watch her boy do the seeing for the both of them. To understand what happens next, you have to go back 8 years. East Oakland. A cramped garage attached to a rented bungalow. A 5-year-old boy sitting on an overturned milk crate. His father standing over a Ford F-150 with the hood up and a work light clipped to the fender. Tyler, come here. Tell me what you hear. Elias Armstrong, 42 years old, 6'2", hands the size of dinner plates, master mechanic. 22 years at a high-end European import shop in Detroit before he moved the family west to chase cleaner air for his wife's asthma. He specialized in the Italian exotics nobody else on the block would touch. The boy listens. The engine idles rough. Lean side, cylinder 3, maybe 4. Elias smiles like a man who has just heard the future. That's my boy. Now tell me why. For 6 years, Elias taught him everything. How to listen, how to measure, how to read a car the way other people read faces. The difference between a ground fault and a short. Why the machine was always more honest than the man holding the wrench. How to clean a tool before you put it back. How to put it back in the exact place it came from. A tool out of place is a wrench you'll need at midnight. Then Elias died. Tyler was 6. A sudden heart attack in the driveway, midway through changing the serpentine belt on a neighbor's Volvo. The neighbor paid Deborah in a casserole and 2 apologies. That was the math of Tyler's childhood from that day forward. A widow on a cleaning contract. A boy with a father-shaped hole in his chest. A toolbox that still smelled like his father's hands. Deborah kept 2 things. The 1974 red Snap-on toolbox and the books. Haynes manuals, Bentley manuals, factory service manuals in 3 languages. A thick stack of Ferrari workshop bulletins Elias had hoarded from a stint servicing a collector's stable in Grosse Pointe. Some of them stamped confidential, dealer only on the cover. Tyler read them the way other kids read Harry Potter, under the covers with a flashlight. At the kitchen table while his mother ironed uniforms, on the bus. By the time he was 9, he was diagnosing misfires by ear on cars idling in the apartment parking lot. On Saturdays, he rode his bike 3 miles to a garage on Lucille Street, Walter Brennan's place. Walter was Elias's oldest friend, a gruff white man in his 60s, Midwest vowels, knuckles like walnuts, the kind of mechanic who called every customer sir and never charged for an honest diagnosis. Walter did not let Tyler work on anything at first. Just watch. Just hand him tools. Just listen. By 11, Tyler was doing brake jobs under supervision. By 12, he had torn down and rebuilt the same 1995 Miata engine 3 times on Walter's back lot. For fun. Walter never once said the word gifted. He just kept handing the boy harder problems. Last year, California State Middle School Science Fair. Second place. Project title, Galvanic Corrosion in Dissimilar Metal Fasteners Under Thermal Cycling. Remember that title. It matters in about 30 minutes. Tyler had never touched a Ferrari in his life. He had never sat in one, never heard one run in person, never stood close enough to smell the leather. But he had read every LaFerrari service bulletin ever leaked to an enthusiast forum. He knew the HYKERS hybrid architecture the way other 13-year-olds knew Minecraft redstone circuits. He could draw the high-voltage wiring diagram from memory on a napkin and label every terminator resistor. And whenever he was nervous, test day, report card day, the night his mother came home in tears because her hours had been cut again, he would close his eyes and hear his father's voice. A car is a circulatory system, son. Find where the blood isn't flowing. The engine will tell you, if you shut up and listen. And then the other one, the one that mattered most. The machine never lies. Only the people looking at it do. That was not a line about cars. That was Tyler's whole worldview. Machines do not care about your skin color. Machines do not care that you are 13. Machines do not care that your mother wears a uniform with a name patch and empties trash cans for men who never learn her name. Machines respond only to the truth. That was the first place in this world Tyler had ever been treated fairly. And now he was standing in front of a $6.3 million machine that had been lying to everyone for 21 days. Nobody in that room had shut up long enough to listen. He had. Caldwell clears the bay with a single gesture. This is what we're doing. He addresses the room like a judge instructing a courtroom. His voice does not rise. It does not need to. Every eye is already on him. The boy has 60 minutes. He produces a root cause and a proposed fix. He defends both in front of Gerald Hollister. If Gerald signs off, we execute the repair. If not, we send everybody home, and I find out Friday morning how much that costs me. Blake crosses his arms. He has rehearsed this posture in 1,000 meetings. Sir, for the record, if this child touches anything high voltage on that car, this company's liability insurance evaporates in an afternoon. He won't. Mr. Hollister performs every high voltage contact action. The boy does diagnosis, measurement, low voltage work, and mechanical torque. He is not alone with the car at any point. Mrs. Armstrong signs a consent form. My assistant is drafting it now. Colleen is already typing. Her stylus is a blur. Blake tries one more angle. He has built a career on finding the angle. And if the kid fails, I want a consequence. We wasted 45 minutes of my senior staff's time on a stunt. He's banned from campus, Caldwell says. That's your consequence. Fine. And the housekeeper's contract gets reviewed. I want no. Caldwell does not raise his voice. He does not need to. Her contract is not on the table. Try that again, and you will be. Blake's jaw works. He says nothing. The muscle in his cheek twitches twice before it settles. Caldwell turns to the full room. Since we're all being honest, here is what is actually on the line. Friday's summit, $18 million in partnership capital, European Automotive Group. Oracle Drive proves itself on this car, or it does not prove itself at all. 26 of you have jobs that depend on the answer in this bay. Silence. So, Blake, you're the chief engineer. What are your stakes in this contest? Blake hesitates. He sees the camera Colleen has now placed conspicuously on the workbench. Red light, blinking, recording. He knows he cannot look scared in front of the camera. He also knows he cannot look scared in front of the juniors who will be telling this story in break rooms for the rest of their careers. If the boy is right, I will submit my resignation within the hour. In writing. On camera. He says it because he is certain it is impossible. A 13-year-old cannot do what Ferrari Maranello could not do. The laws of the universe do not work that way. Caldwell nods once. Noted. Mrs. Armstrong, your turn. Deborah reads the consent form Colleen hands her, reads it again. Her hands do not shake. She taught herself not to let them. She signs on the line. She walks over to her son, bends to his ear, speaks so quietly that only he can hear her. Your daddy's watching, baby. You do what he taught you, and if your hands start shaking, you look at me. That's all. Tyler nods once. His hands will not shake. Not today. The door opens. An old man walks in. White hair, gold-rimmed glasses, a slight limp on the left side, souvenir of a 1998 incident with a vehicle lift gone wrong. A voice like gravel, soaked in molasses. He wears a charcoal jacket with a Ferrari Maranello lapel pin so old the enamel has worn to brass on the edges. Gerald Hollister, 80 years old, 52 years a Ferrari master technician, former head of Ferrari's North American Technician Certification Program. The man Maranello itself called when Maranello did not have an answer. Caldwell had flown him in 2 days ago on the chance it would come to this. Gerald takes in the scene in 3 seconds. The boy, the toolbox under the orange plastic chair, the Ferrari, the chief engineer with his crossed arms. He walks straight to Tyler, and then he does something nobody in that room has ever seen a man like Gerald Hollister do. He crouches, down on one knee, slowly because the knee is 80 years old, so he and the boy are eye to eye. Son, what's your name? Where'd you learn? And when did you last eat? Tyler Armstrong, sir. My dad taught me until I was 6. Mr. Brennan on weekends since then. I had a granola bar at 7 this morning. Then grab another one. Your hands need to be steady. Gerald reaches into his jacket pocket, pulls out a second granola bar, oats and honey, holds it out. Tyler takes it. Thank you, sir. Here's how you and I work today, Tyler. You tell me what you see. You do every piece of this job your mother's consent covers. And for the one thing the law says must be done by a licensed technician, the high-voltage ground strap, you are going to be the voice in my ear. I do not touch a bolt you have not named. Are we clear? Yes, sir. Gerald stands up. His knee complains. He ignores it. He turns to Caldwell. Harrison, you brought me here to tell you the truth. Let the boy work. If he's wrong, I will say so. If he's right, I will say that too. Blake cannot help himself. Gerald, he is 13. Gerald does not look at him. Son, I was apprenticing at 14. The gift does not check a birth certificate before it arrives. Tyler kneels down next to the break room chair, opens the 1974 snap-on chest, every tool exactly where his father left it, 7 years ago. He lays them on a clean shop towel in a row. 10mm open end, 13mm, a calibrated torque wrench with his father's initials scratched into the handle, Fluke 87V multimeter, a cheap borescope he bought on clearance with birthday money last summer, a set of feeler gauges in a leather pouch that still smells like Detroit. Aaron Wilson watches him lay out the tools. Aaron has a master's degree from Stanford. He has never seen anyone set up a workspace with that much care. Colleen Davis starts the wall clock, a digital timer, red numerals the size of a paperback. 60 minutes. The room does not breathe. Tyler looks up at the Ferrari, takes one slow breath. Mr. Hollister, I'm ready when you are. Tyler looks at the Oracle Drive diagnostic laptop humming on the workbench. A sleek black machine. 14 gigabytes of data it could not read. Sir, may I set this aside? Blake scoffs out loud. Caldwell nods. Yes. Tyler closes the laptop lid, slides it gently to the end of the bench. Not aggressive, not dismissive, just moved out of the way. The machine already told you everything it knew. I want to ask it what it could not see. Gerald steps to the Ferrari first. This is the non-negotiable step. 20 seconds of high-voltage safety protocol. Gerald narrates each motion aloud, for the camera, for the record, for the boy learning from him in real time. Service disconnect, rotating to the safe position. Locking, verifying 0 volts at the high-voltage test point with the Category 3 meter. Confirming again at the secondary test point. Clear. The Ferrari is asleep. Cold circuit safe. Gerald steps back. And this is the moment. Tyler does not move at first. He just looks. He takes one breath. The real kind. The kind his father taught him to take before a measurement. Slow in through the nose, slow out through the mouth. Because shaky hands lie. Calm hands do not. He walks. Past the housekeeping card his mother has been gripping for 20 minutes. Past Vincent Brooks, who will not meet his eyes. Past Blake Whitmore, who was still wearing the smirk from 10 minutes ago. The smirk is about to become the last comfortable thing on his face for a very long time. Tyler does not look at any of them. He is looking at the car. He reaches the front of the Ferrari. He is short enough that the nose of the hood sits level with his collarbone. He places both hands on the latch. Small hands. A smudge of library ink on the left knuckle. From the chapter on fault tree analysis he was reading in the break room 44 minutes ago, when he was supposed to be nobody. He lifts. The hood rises on its hydraulic struts with a sound like a long, tired exhale. The sound a machine makes when someone has finally come to listen to it. Halogen light floods the V12 bay. Somebody in the back of the room actually gasps. The world's best mechanics had stood in front of this same car for 21 days. Ferrari Maranello had stood in front of it. A 14-gigabyte artificial intelligence had stared at it without blinking. Not one of them had seen what was about to be seen, because the hood only opens for the person ready to look. Tyler leans in. He does not touch anything yet. He just looks. His eyes move the way a doctor's eyes move over a patient. Systematically. No waste. He traces the orange high-voltage conduit from the rear battery pack forward to the inverter mount. His eyes stop on the ground strap bolted to the inverter housing. It looks, to any untrained eye, perfectly fine. Tyler clamps the Fluke 87 volts across the strap, flexes it with one gloved finger. 3.2 ohms under flex. Gerald's eyebrows go up. Spec? Under 0.1. Silence. Tyler explains. Calm voice. Kid's voice. No triumph in it. Someone pulled this strap off to access the inverter, reinstalled it with a stainless bolt instead of the copper-coated fastener in the service manual. Stainless into aluminum. Galvanic corrosion. Heat cycles build. Resistance climbs. Ground reference floats. Isolation monitor trips. Car shuts down. He looks up at Caldwell. It's intermittent because it only misbehaves once the chassis temperature gets above about 82 Celsius, which is why it acts fine on a cold start and fails 30 minutes into a test drive. That is exactly his science fair project. 8 years of studying his father's manuals just walked into this bay and sat down at the head of the table. Aaron Wilson steps forward. First time his voice has been steady in 3 months. Blake told me to use the stainless bolt. Said we didn't have the copper-coated one in stock and the parts ticket was taking too long to clear. I flagged it in the job log. The flag got overwritten. Colleen writes it down, underlines it twice. Blake does not speak. Tyler wipes his hands on a shop rag. Clean rag, not the greasy one from 12 minutes ago. That's not all of it. Go on. The ground strap explains the fault code. It does not explain the vibration signature on page 4 of your Oracle Drive log. There is a harmonic between 4,200 and 4,600 RPM that shouldn't exist on a healthy LaFerrari. That's a mechanical problem, not an electrical one. Caldwell slides the tablet across the bench. Tyler scrolls, taps the anomaly. The waveform spikes in a jagged signature. He picks up the borescope, small flexible camera on a cheap wire, $59 on clearance at a big box auto parts store. He threads it behind the heat shield on the left inverter mount bracket, plugs it into the bench monitor so the whole room can see what he sees. The image loads. An 11mm hairline crack in the aluminum casting, hidden from every previous technician by the heat shield directly over it. A crack pattern, like a lightning bolt frozen in metal. Tyler speaks without looking up from the screen. The fracture only opens under load. When it opens, the inverter shifts by about 0.5 millimeter. That 0.5 millimeter stresses the ground strap we just measured, which was already compromised. This is why nobody could find the fault. It is not one fault. He looks up. It is a duet. Gerald leans in, studies the image on the monitor for a long moment, straightens up slowly. Harrison. He's right. Blake's voice cracks for the first time in the room's memory. That crack could have happened any time. You can't prove. Tyler still does not look at him. He does not need to. The casting date code stamped on the bracket is legible through the borescope. It's original to the vehicle. The crack pattern is fatigue, not impact. It has been growing for about 10 months based on the oxidation color along the fracture line, which was around the time this car had a service here. Probably one where someone over-tightened the mount bolts past the 32 Newton-meter spec. His eyes flick finally to Blake. Silence. A long one. Longer than anyone in the room has ever heard in this bay. Tyler turns to the dashboard. There's a reason your own AI missed this. Caldwell. Tell me. Somebody installed an aftermarket data logger on the chassis CAN bus, probably to siphon telemetry into Oracle Drive's training data set. But they put it on the wrong bus. It is injecting a terminator resistance that scrambles the isolation monitor's self-check loop. Your AI has been reading corrupted data for months and does not know it. It is very confidently giving you very wrong answers. He points to a trim panel on the center console. May I? Caldwell nods. Tyler pops the panel. Low voltage, safe for a minor, safe for a 13-year-old with a consent form on file. Inside, zip-tied neatly to the harness, is a small gray plastic module. Aftermarket, not a factory part. Hand-labeled white sticker on the side, 3 letters in black permanent marker. BW. The entire room reads them at the same time. Aaron Wilson breathes out. Colleen Davis zooms the camera in on the label. Tyler speaks quietly, almost apologetically. He has the tone of a boy who has been taught that calling out an adult is dangerous. I'm not here to get anyone in trouble. I'm here because my mom's school district had no school today. But you can't fix this car without pulling that module. It is the third leg of the fault. 3 faults stacked on top of each other. That's why every technician before me found one and thought they were done. He looks up at Gerald first, then at Caldwell. He does not look at Blake. Blake looks at Blake, at his own initials. At the evidence bag Colleen is now labeling with a timestamp. At the camera that has captured the label in focus. At the bench where 3 senior engineers just watched a 13-year-old expose him. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. That's not my handwriting on that sticker. Aaron Wilson clears his throat. It is. I watched you label it in October. You asked me for a Sharpie. Aaron looks Blake in the eye for the first time since he joined the team. It takes something out of him. It also gives something back. Vincent Brooks does not look up from the floor. Gerald Hollister steps forward, places one hand on Tyler's shoulder. Not paternal, not sentimental. The way masters lay hands on their apprentices at the end of a test. Speaks to the whole room, but looks only at Caldwell. In 52 years under the hood of Italian machines, I have seen this pattern maybe 6 times. I have never seen anyone find all 3 faults in under an hour. I have never seen anyone, of any age, find them without starting the car first. This is not skill. Skill is what I have. This is something skill grows into. He pauses. The room waits. I do not have another word for what this boy is. But I am not going to pretend I don't know what it is, either. Tyler does not react. He is still looking at the module in the evidence bag, already thinking about what comes next. The diagnosis is done, the work is not. Behind him, Blake Whitmore is staring at his own initials on a piece of evidence. His career is already over. He just doesn't know it yet. The clock on the wall says 31 minutes have passed, 29 left on the challenge. Plenty of time to make a dead Ferrari breathe again. Aaron Wilson is already back from the parts room with the correct copper-coated ground strap fastener. He hands it to Tyler without meeting Blake's eyes. Tyler hands it to Gerald. Chain of custody. Witnessed. Tyler goes to work. First, the telemetry module. Low voltage. Safe for him. Tyler cuts the zip ties with a small pair of diagonal cutters, disconnects the module from the CAN bus connector, lifts it out by hand, slides it into the evidence bag Colleen has already prepared with his name and the timestamp. She seals it, labels it. Chain of custody. Second, the fractured inverter mount bracket. Tyler pulls a temporary reinforcement plate from the Ferrari service bin on the far wall. He quotes the service bulletin number from memory, 31-2024-B. He positions the plate, aligns the bolt holes by eye and confirms with a feeler gauge. He torques every bolt with his father's calibrated wrench, one by one, to the exact specification in the bulletin. He calls each value out loud so Colleen's camera catches it. He tags the repair. Temporary. Do not exceed 200 miles until permanent casting replacement. He logs the recommendation in the service record. Third, the ground strap. This is the one Tyler cannot touch. Gerald steps in. Full PPE, insulated tools, Category 3 gloves, safety glasses. Tyler stands at his shoulder. Small voice, but absolutely steady. Loosen the 13mm at the inverter side first, sir. Never the chassis side first. If you loosen the chassis side first, the strap stays energized through the body return path and we get a surprise. Got it. Disconnect. Good. Swat the stainless bolt for the copper-coated. Torque to 12 Newton meters, not 15. Ferrari updated that spec in the 2019 revision of the service bulletin. 12 even. Done. The hands moving on that Ferrari's ground strap belonged to Gerald Hollister, 80 years old, 52 years certified. The mind moving them belonged to a 13-year-old in a hoodie who had never touched a Ferrari in his life. The man had the license. The boy had the answer. Either way, make no mistake, this was the boy solving the car. Tyler murmurs under his breath, so quietly only he can hear it. The machine never lies. Only the people looking at it do. Gerald performs a final torque recheck himself. Not mistrust. Respect. The way masters check apprentices. The way one professional validates another. He nods. Harrison. Started. Caldwell steps into the driver's seat, presses the red start button on the steering wheel. The V12 coughs once, a dry, skeptical cough. And then it roars. Full 950 horsepower. Hiker's hybrid system engages cleanly. Isolation monitor, green. Battery management, nominal. 0 error codes on the dash. Tyler, polite as ever. Mr. Hollister, would you run a sweep through 42 to 4600 RPM for me? I want to verify the harmonic is dead. Gerald nods, revs the engine through the band. The V12 pulls clean and steady. No harmonic, no stutter. The duet is dead. Exhaust heat shimmers over the carbon bodywork in visible waves. The smell of fresh combustion fills the bay. That particular Ferrari smell, high octane and leather and something that is almost incense. A smell that means the car is alive again. Aaron Wilson starts a small cheer. It is the sound of a man who has not been allowed to cheer for 3 months. It ripples backward through the junior engineers. One of them claps. 2 of them clap. 4 of them. 6. Vincent Brooks looks at the floor the way a man looks at a floor when the floor is the only thing in the room willing to meet his eyes. Blake Whitmore does not move. He is watching his own career end in real time, 12 feet away, through a cloud of exhaust that smells like success. Deborah Armstrong has not moved in 20 minutes. She is still gripping the handle of her housekeeping cart. Her uniform is still buttoned to the top. Her name patch still says Deborah in red thread, the kind that has been washed 1,000 times and still holds its color. She had put that uniform on at 4:45 this morning in the dark. She had buttoned it without thinking. She had put her boy's sandwich in a paper bag. She had put the library book in his backpack. She does not cry. Her shoulders drop half an inch. That half inch is the whole story. Colleen Davis looks at the wall clock, reads the time aloud into the camera. 41 minutes. First tool contact to running engine. For the record. Tyler walks to the front of the Ferrari, places both hands on the open hood, lowers it gently. The latch clicks home with a satisfying mechanical finality. The boy who opened it is the boy who closes it. Gerald Hollister turns to face the room. He keeps his hand on Tyler's shoulder, the way masters bless apprentices at the end of a test. Harrison, you brought me out of retirement to tell you which of your people could actually do this work. I have an answer for you now. He looks at Blake. Blake looks at the floor. Mr. Armstrong here found in 41 minutes what your chief engineer couldn't find in 21 days. Partly because your chief engineer was the one who broke it. Every one of us who has ever held a torque wrench knows what that means. A pause. And he's 13. Silence like a weight in the room. So you tell me, Harrison, who belongs in this room? If you have ever been the quietest person in the room who turned out to be the only one who actually knew what was going on, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment. Tell me about the moment your proof finally landed. Tag it with #justice for the underestimated. Because this is what it looks like when it does. Caldwell does not take Tyler to a conference room. He walks him and Deborah to the shop bench. Respects the environment the boy chose. Respects the father in the toolbox. He lays it out plainly. Mrs. Armstrong, your son just found something that will be in a peer-reviewed paper before the end of the year. He also saved this company from a partnership collapse on Friday morning. I am not going to insult either of you by offering him a check and a handshake. He nods at Colleen. She opens a folder. This is the Sterling Dynamics Scholars Fellowship. Full tuition, private middle school starting in September, private high school, any 4-year engineering university he gets into. Held in trust. You are the sole trustee. Deborah's hand goes to her mouth. She does not speak. Second, a formal mentorship program with Mr. Hollister. 1 Saturday a month, 4 hours, right here in this lab. You are welcome at every session. Mr. Hollister is committing to 5 years. Gerald, quietly. 10, if the boy wants it. Third, a paid teen consulting agreement, age appropriate, vetted by a California child labor attorney I'm bringing in this afternoon. Royalties from the Oracle Drive version 2 paper route into the trust. Your son's name goes on that paper as co-author. He earned it. Caldwell pauses. And at 18, standing summer internship. No interview required. Come home whenever you're ready, son. Tyler does not speak. His throat does not work right now. He is 13, and a man he has never met has just changed the shape of his life. Deborah speaks for him, the guardian voice. Sir, we accept, with 2 conditions. Name them. 1. My housekeeping contract gets renegotiated, directly with Sterling Dynamics, not through the subcontractor that has been underpaying me for 11 years. Done. 2. Aaron Wilson gets heard in rooms he has not been heard in before. Aaron looks up, startled. Caldwell does not hesitate. Done. Mr. Wilson, report to my office Monday at 8. We have things to discuss. Caldwell hands Deborah a pen. She signs the fellowship paperwork on the hood of the Ferrari. Tyler sits on his father's toolbox while she signs. His feet do not quite reach the floor. They swing. He is still, underneath all of this, a 13-year-old boy. Colleen Davis had been recording since minute 1. 48 hours later, Sterling Dynamics Human Resources and Legal opened a formal investigation into Blake Whitmore. The findings were all documented, all on tape, all on paper. No hearsay. 1. Unauthorized installation of the telemetry module, a direct violation of Ferrari's warranty agreement, its intellectual property boundaries, and Sterling Dynamics' own data handling policy that Blake himself had signed 3 years ago. 2. Directing a junior technician, Aaron Wilson, to use an out-of-spec stainless bolt on a high-voltage ground strap, creating a live safety fault on a $6.3 million vehicle, endangering a test driver if the car had been delivered as complete. 3. Falsifying 2 diagnostic reports during the 21-day failure window, specifically to cover items 1 and 2. The investigation dug deeper. 3 junior engineers had filed informal complaints over the prior 2 years. A pattern of credit theft, a pattern of intimidation in performance reviews, a pattern of blame shifting onto subordinates whenever something went wrong. Human Resources had filed all 3 complaints under interpersonal friction and closed them without interview. The HR director who closed them received a formal written reprimand and mandatory retraining by the end of that week. Blake Whitmore was terminated for cause on Monday morning. Not paraded, not leaked to the press, not publicly humiliated beyond what the documented facts required. His non-compete clause was voided automatically by the cause termination. He could still work. He could still feed his family, but a gross negligence filing went to the California Board for Professional Engineers, Land Surveyors, and Geologists. His professional engineer license is under formal review as of the first Monday of the following month. Serious, earned, lawful. The rogue telemetry module and its data logs went to Ferrari North America's legal team. Caldwell wrote a direct letter to Marinello, acknowledged the breach, offered remediation in full, offered to fund an independent audit. It cost Sterling Dynamics $3.2 million in settlement and lost partnership momentum. The European deal closed anyway, at a lower valuation. Caldwell considered it cheap. Vincent Brooks was demoted 2 levels, not fired. He had admitted under internal interview that he had known about the rogue module for months and said nothing. Proportional consequence. He kept his job. He lost the office. He kept his paycheck. He lost the respect of every junior engineer who had ever watched him look at the floor in the powertrain bay that Wednesday morning. Aaron Wilson was promoted. Not once, twice, within 90 days. The first promotion was on paper. The second was on the door of his new office, a small corner office with 1 window, 3 floors up from the powertrain bay. His name went on the door in the kind of sans serif font that does not come off when you change your mind. The 3 junior engineers whose complaints HR had buried were invited into Caldwell's office, one by one. Each walked out with a raise, a new reporting line, and a written apology on company letterhead. Nobody was doxxed, nobody was assaulted, Nobody was publicly shamed beyond what the facts themselves said about them. The justice was procedural, paper trail, chain of custody, formal process, lawful outcomes. That is what made it stick. That is what made it permanent. That is what made every engineer on that campus quietly read their employment contract again on the following Monday morning. 2 weeks later, Blake Whitmore was sitting at a coffee shop near the Sterling Dynamics campus, interviewing for a position at a third-tier consulting firm that did not check references carefully. The interviewer was 20 minutes late. He was on his second coffee. He was checking his phone. He was refreshing his email for a response from another firm that would never come. The LinkedIn message he had sent to his former mentor 2 days ago still said, "Read 11:32 a.m." with no reply beneath it. The 3 firms that used to call him back within the hour were no longer calling him back at all. Through the window, he saw the sidewalk. A boy walked past. Library backpack over one shoulder, skateboard under the other arm, his mother's hand resting lightly on his back. The boy was laughing at something his mother had said, a real laugh, the kind 13-year-olds have when they do not yet know what it costs to protect it. They were walking home from the first Saturday session with Gerald Hollister. Tyler did not see Blake, or if he did not show it. Blake watched them walk past the window until they were gone around the corner. His coffee went cold in his hand. The interviewer never showed up. The machine never lies. Only the people looking at it do. 5 years later, Tyler Armstrong is 18, valedictorian of his high school, starting at MIT in the fall on a combined scholarship and Sterling Dynamics fellowship package. He has already co-authored the Oracle Drive version 2 paper with Gerald Hollister, now 85, on the physical layer failure modes AI diagnostics systematically miss. The paper has been cited in 3 different engineering journals. Tyler's name is on the byline above a dozen senior engineers who never thought they would share a footer with a teenager. Deborah Armstrong is Sterling Dynamics Director of Facility Services, direct employed, salaried, benefits. She supervises a team of 11. She is the first person Harrison Caldwell says good morning to when he walks in. The old Detroit shop where Elias Armstrong once worked has a framed photograph on the wall. Tyler, Gerald, the La Ferrari Aperta. 3 generations of hands. At the end of a long day in the lab, Tyler closes the lid of the 1974 Snap-on chest. The click is clean. If this story moved you, share it with someone who has been underestimated one too many times. Tell me in the comments. If it were you standing in that powertrain bay, would you have spoken up? There is a detail only the sharpest viewers will catch at minute 9. Subscribe. Next week, a hospital janitor in Boston solves what the manufacturer's engineers could not. You do not want to miss it. Hashtag justice for the underestimated. I chose Tyler's story because genius doesn't wait for permission, and it doesn't always arrive tall. Sometimes it's a 13-year-old boy with his dead father's toolbox and a library book, standing in a room that didn't want him, quietly proving that being seen is what every one of us has been waiting for.